Hey, I'm Sophia. Before we start, go grab a snack and get comfortable for a bit. These stories take their time, and they are told the way I'd tell a friend late at night. I really hope you enjoy them. This story has one update on it and my own opinion at the end. Comment and tell me if you agree. Let's begin. After my family chose my sister over me, I found happiness and success on my own terms. I could see my sister's name light up on my phone screen as they read out mine from the stage. It was buzzing in my clutch so hard my hand shook, the vibration rattling against the cheap metal clasp. And the Young Innovator Award goes to Lena Farid, founder of Grounded & Company. The room burst into applause, spotlights sweeping over the tables. I stood up on legs that felt like jelly, every nerve on fire, my phone still buzzing against my palm. One last glance down before I stepped toward the stage, a preview of the message from my mother in the family group chat. We're all at Layla's trunk show tonight. So proud of your sister. We'll celebrate you properly another time. The mic was colder than I expected when they pressed it into my hand. I blinked under the lights, the ballroom suddenly too bright, the applause fading into a muffled roar in my ears. I could still picture my family sitting in a crowded boutique across town, sipping free Prosecco while my sister posed in front of racks of imported dresses. My fingers tightened around the acrylic award, the edges biting into my skin. Hi, I said, my voice catching. A few people chuckled encouragingly. I cleared my throat. I'm Lena, and apparently I won something. More laughter. My phone buzzed again in my bag. I resisted the urge to throw it into the nearest champagne bucket. I started Grounded & Company 2 years ago with a credit card, a second-hand espresso machine, and zero support from the people I thought would be in the front row tonight. I heard myself say. So, to everyone who did show up for me, thank you. This is ours. It was a Saturday night in late autumn when the choosing happened, the night the scales finally tipped. But if I'm honest, my family had been rehearsing that scene for years. I grew up in a very loud, very opinionated, very we're all in each other's business kind of household. My parents own a little Mediterranean deli in the suburbs that smells like olives, coffee, and dish soap permanently soaked into the tiles. We moved to this country when I was 7 and my sister, Layla, was 10. She took to everything fast. The language, the slang, the way to roll her eyes just right so people laughed instead of getting annoyed. I was quieter, always drawing layouts of imaginary shops instead of playing. Layla was the star from day one. She had this big, wild hair and a laugh that filled a room. Teachers adored her. Kids wanted to sit next to her. My parents used to say, wherever she goes, blessings follow. They meant it half-jokingly, but I think we all internalized it. I was the responsible one. The one who did the books in the deli after school, who learned to work the till, who knew which regular wanted extra pickles without the masking. My dream, even back then, was to turn the deli into something more. I used to redesign the logo in my notebooks, sketch out a tiny cafe corner near the window, imagine warm lighting instead of the harsh fluorescent hum. My dad would ruffle my hair and say, maybe one day, Habibti, when we're not just surviving. Layla's dream was less defined but louder. I just know I'm meant for something big, she'd say, scrolling through Instagram influencers. Not like sausages and olives big. Real big. We both went into different paths after school. Layla tried a couple of things, fashion design, then a social media course, but mostly floated around helping at the deli, posting aesthetic photos of food for her followers. I went to business school, commuting an hour each way and working evenings at the deli. While my friends partied, I was calculating margins on feta cheese and trying to convince my parents that yes, having a website would actually help. When I graduated, I put together a full business plan, turned the deli into a hybrid deli cafe, rebrand it, add a small menu of simple, modern takes on the food my parents already made. My degree suddenly made sense when I applied it to them. I stayed up until 2 a.m. for weeks, on our wobbly dining table, building forecasts in Excel, and designing a logo in free software because I couldn't afford Adobe. One Sunday afternoon, I nervously presented it. We were all there, the 4 of us, plus a vat of stuffed vine leaves and my dad's too strong coffee. I printed everything out, added color-coded tabs, because apparently my brain thinks PowerPoints are a love language. This is a lot, my dad said, flipping pages. His face was unreadable. My stomach fluttered. It's good, Layla said slowly, tapping one page with a pink nail. Like, actually good. My chest warmed for a second. Compliments from her were rare. But, she added, too casually, it might be a bit much for the deli. It's very,
Lena.
very minimal and serious. She turned to our parents. You know what I was thinking? You could use this money to help me start something that really fits the social media space. A concept store. Clothes, accessories, maybe a small coffee corner later. I could use some of these ideas for the brand, obviously. It was like the air shifted. Mum's eyes lit up in a way they hadn't while listening to me explain foot traffic projections. A fashion concept store, she repeated, already imagining tags on Instagram. Our Layla, owning a boutique. Dad hesitated. But this, he waved my binder. This is for the deli. The place that pays our bills. Layla leaned in, her voice softening. She is good at softening when it suits her. Baba, I'll bring in new customers. People with money. We could cross-promote. I already have a following. It's a better investment. You always say you want us to do better than you, right? Let me fly. I watched their faces. My mum was already sold. My dad looked torn, flipping back and forth between my binder and Layla's bright eyes. It wasn't a fair fight. I think I knew that even then. In our culture, family supports each other, Mum said, turning to me. You did a beautiful job, Habibti, really. But your sister has a chance to build something that can lift us all. We can't afford both. So you'll fund Layla's boutique instead of renovating the deli? I asked. My voice sounded far away. Mum reached for my hand. It's not instead. It's first. Your plan is always there. Let your sister go ahead this time. You're strong. You'll find your way. It should have ended there. A painful no that I could have processed, maybe forgiven. But a month later, I came home early from uni and found Layla on the couch, working on a pitch presentation. I glanced at her laptop as I passed and froze. The slides were mine. My fonts, my phrasing, even my mock-up logo. Except where I'd written Farid's Deli and Cafe, it now said Layla Atelier. Are you serious? I blurted. She jumped, then rolled her eyes. Don't sneak up on people. You're using my business plan, I said, ignoring that. Word for word. She shrugged. Relax. It's not like you were using it. I'm just adapting it. You're literally presenting my work as your own, I said louder. Do Mum and Dad know? Her jaw tightened. They know I'm using your spreadsheets. You're good with numbers. They're boring, but you're good. Why are you being so dramatic? We're family. That word again. Family. The magic license to take without asking. We fought. Mum took her side, of course. Why are you jealous? She demanded. If your sister succeeds, we all succeed. Do you want her to fail? That was the first time I seriously considered leaving. The second time was the night of the choosing. Fast forward a year. Layla had her boutique. Tiny, white walls, too many mirrors, a neon sign that said Layla Atelier in cursive. My parents had invested most of their savings into her deposit and stock. The deli remained unchanged. Same flickering fluorescent lights, same cracked lino. My plan gathered dust in a drawer. I, in the meantime, was working a junior marketing job in the city. I hated the commute but loved the strategy side. I also started playing with coffee more seriously, doing barista shifts at a specialty cafe on weekends just because I enjoyed it. The idea for Grounded and Company snuck up on me slowly. A place that merged good coffee with simple, honest food like my parents made, but in a space that felt like you could breathe. When the cafe I worked at decided to close its second location, the owner offered me the espresso machine at a discount. You've talked about doing your own thing, she said. Maybe this is your sign. I did the terrifying thing. I moved out. I maxed a credit card. I found a tiny, weirdly shaped storefront on a side street that most people overlooked. I painted the walls with the help of my friend Rena, who bribed me with pizza and bought secondhand tables from a closing restaurant. The night before our opening, I texted my family, "Grounded and company opens tomorrow. 8 a.m. It would mean a lot if you came, even just for coffee." Mom replied first. "Tomorrow is Layla's new collection launch. We promised we'd be there all day. Maybe after? So proud of you both." Both. I stared at the message so long my eyes blurred. Layla sent a thumbs up. My dad sent a "good luck, princess" and a heart. They didn't come the next day. Or the day after. Layla posted 22 stories about her trunk show. I served coffee to strangers and tried not to check my phone every 5 minutes. That was the moment something in me went quiet. Not broken, just calm. If they were choosing where to stand that clearly, then I didn't have to keep dragging myself in front of them asking to be seen. I could build my life outside their spotlight. The first year of the cafe was brutal. There's no glamorous way to say that. I was at the shop from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. most days. I roasted in the summer heat, froze in winter because I couldn't afford better insulation, and learned how to fix a leaky pipe from YouTube at midnight. Some days we were packed. Others, I counted coins in the till at closing and wondered how the hell rent was due again already. But slowly, tiny signposts appeared that told me I was on a path, not just running. A food blogger with a decent following wandered in one day, ordered a latte and smashed avocado toast, and wrote a glowing review. A local paper did a new cafes to try list and put us at the top. People started coming back not just for the coffee but for me. "Is Lena here? She knows how I like it." I posted photos of the cafe online, at first shyly, then more confidently as our feed filled with warm light, plants, and mismatched mugs. Friends sent their friends. We added a small shelf of deli items, my dad's olives, my mom's pickled vegetables. I bought them wholesale, straight up, like any supplier. No family discount games. A year and a half later, when that award email arrived in my inbox, "You've been nominated for Young Innovator in Small Business," my first instinct was to forward it to my parents. I stopped myself. Instead, I texted Rena. She replied in all caps, threatening to show up in a ball gown to the ceremony. The night of the award, I sent my family the time and place, more out of habit than hope. Their reply told me exactly where I stood. And that brings us back to the buzzing phone in my clutch and me on stage, holding an acrylic trophy while my mother toasted my sister across town. After the ceremony, in a blur of photos and congratulations and too sweet cake, I finally opened my messages. "Mum, how did it go? Did you win? We're exhausted. Layla's event was a big success, mashallah. Your aunt says hi. Layla, saw someone tag you. Cute trophy. Congrats. I typed, deleted, retyped. Finally I wrote, yes, I won. The cafe's doing well. Glad your event went well too. I'm heading back to celebrate with my people now. My people. Rena. My staff. The regulars who'd become friends. The community I'd somehow assembled from scratch. That night, we locked the doors of Grounded and Company, cranked up the music, and danced between the tables with cheap Prosecco in chipped mugs. Someone stuck the award on a shelf between bags of beans and a plant I'd long since murdered. I laughed until my sides hurt. For the first time in a long time, the empty space where my family should have been felt smaller. Not gone. But not swallowing everything. If the story ended there, it would already be a win. But of course, when you finally stop chasing people, that's when they start turning around. Let's pause mid-movie and just appreciate how textbook this family dynamic is. You've got Opie, who is basically the backbone of everyone's dreams, doing the numbers, working the deli, getting the degree, building actual plans. Then you've got Layla, the golden child with good hair and vibes who floats from idea to idea until she finds one that everyone is willing to mortgage the house for. The parents aren't cartoon villains. They're painfully real. Immigrant parents who equate loud visibility with success and quiet competence with "she'll be fine." They don't wake up deciding to hurt their younger daughter. But when push comes to shove, they will always bet on the child whose success feels sparkly and bragworthy, not the one doing Excel sorcery at midnight. They can say, "We're proud of you both," all they want. Their calendar says otherwise. Layla stealing the business plan is honestly one of the grimiest parts. Not even just borrowing inspiration, literally copy-pasting slides and branding like her sister's work is a communal resource. And when she gets called out, she weaponizes "we're family" as a get-out-of-ethics-free card. That's not clueless. That's entitlement. OP's turning point isn't the award. It's the quiet decision on opening day when they don't show up. That's when she moves from "maybe if I do more they'll see me" to "okay, then you've chosen and so will I." The rest. Building the cafe, creating a community, standing on that stage while her phone buzzes, is the universe backing her boundary. Now, let's see what happens when the golden child's shiny venture stops shining and suddenly the responsible one looks a lot like a lifeline. Update about a year later. Hey, it's me again. Didn't think I'd be writing an update like some long-running Reddit saga, but life apparently loves a sequel. A few months after the award night, I started hearing little things about Layla's boutique. Nothing huge. A comment dropped by my aunt over coffee. "Retail is hard these days, poor thing." A throwaway line from my dad on the phone. "Your mother is stressed about the loan payments." My parents never outright asked for help, but the edges of their sentences started fraying. I finally saw it for myself when a regular at my cafe, who works at the council, mentioned a new program offering reduced rent to small businesses in our area. "You should apply," she said. "You'd be a great fit. They're prioritizing community-focused spaces." I went onto the council website that night and skimmed the list of applicants and neighboring businesses. That's when I saw it. Layla Atelier, application pending termination of current lease. My stomach did a weird flip. Curiosity won. The next day, I walked down to my sister's street for the first time in months. Her boutique looked tired. The windows had fingerprints on them. The neon sign flickered. Inside, the racks were still full, but there were no customers, just Layla behind the counter staring at her phone. She looked up, startled, when the bell chimed. For a second, we just stared at each other like strangers. "Wow," she said finally. "Look who decided to visit." I took in the space, the beautiful, expensive shelving, the clothes that hadn't moved, the silent speakers. "How's business?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral. She let out a sharp little laugh. "Booming. Can't you see?" There was a long, heavy pause. "Why are you really here, Lena?" she asked. "To gloat?" "Look at me, I have a cafe and an award, and people actually show up for my stuff?" I blinked. The fact she'd said it before I even got the chance was interesting. "I came because I heard you might be losing your lease," I said. "And because despite everything, you're still my sister." She bristled. "I'm just restructuring. The landlord wants to raise the rent. That's all." I decided not to call her out on the council listing. We danced around each other for a while, trading barbs disguised as small talk. Eventually, she cracked first. Her shoulders slumped. "Fine," she muttered. "Sales have been bad. Influencer collabs don't pay rent. Happy?" No. Honestly, I wasn't. I'd fantasized about this moment more times than I'd admit. The golden child finally facing consequences. But in person, it just felt sad. A few days later, my parents showed up at the cafe unannounced. They'd never been before. Seeing them walk through my door, looking small and uncertain under the high ceilings, was like watching actors wander into the wrong set. Mum clutched her handbag like it might run away. Dad pretended to study the menu chalkboard, even though he can't read half the trendy drink names. "I'll sit," he said. "You talk." "Okay then." Mum stared at the pastries before finally blurting, "Things are difficult for your sister right now." I nodded. I figured. "She worked so hard," Mum said, her voice already wobbling. "But people are not buying like before. The loan, the rent, your father is tired. We thought maybe you could help. With your business knowledge." There it was. The ask. Not money yet, but expertise, legitimacy, maybe a bailout plan. I wiped my hands on my apron and sat opposite them. Behind me, the grinder whirred. My barista called out an order. Someone laughed. My world kept moving. I'm sorry things are hard, I said, and I meant it. Retail is brutal right now. But I can't fix a business built on a stolen plan and denial. Mum winced. Why do you always hold on to the past? Because you never actually acknowledged it, I said quietly. She took my work. You funded her with money you said you didn't have. You skipped my opening to go to her launch. That's not the past to me. That's the ground I had to walk away from. Dad sighed. We made mistakes, he said. We thought her dream needed more help. You always seemed strong. Maybe too strong. We didn't think you needed us. That's not how needing people works, I said. We sat in that thick, uncomfortable silence that smells like burnt bridges and spilled coffee. Then I surprised myself. I can't save Layla's boutique, I said. But I can offer one thing. If she really wants out and the landlord is open, I might be able to take over her lease for a second grounded and company location. I'd pay market rent. It wouldn't be hers anymore. It would be mine. My brand. My conditions. I'd hire staff from the area if they're a good fit. That's the only version of help I can live with. Mum stared at me like I'd suggested we burn the family home. You want to take your sister's shop? I want to grow my business, I said. If that helps the landlord, the council, and you too by taking pressure off the loan, good. But I'm not a charity, and I'm not the understudy for her failed projects. Dad rubbed his temples. She will be devastated. She is already devastated, I said gently. You just don't want to see it. They left without giving me an answer. I honestly assumed that was that. 2 weeks later, I got an email from the landlord's agent. We've been told you might be interested in leasing 47A, King Street. Are you available to discuss terms? Attached was a forwarded message from my father's email. In it, he explained that his daughter Layla could not keep up with payments and that our younger daughter Lena has a successful cafe business and is interested in the property. Layla didn't call me. She texted 3 words. Take it. You win. I stared at those words for a long time. I typed back. This isn't about winning. It's about survival. I hope you figure out what you actually want, not just what looks good online. Then I put my phone down and cried in the storage room for 10 minutes straight. We did take the lease. 6 months later, Layla Atelier was gone from the shop front, replaced by a simple, hand-painted sign, Grounded and Company, King Street. We kept some of the shelving for retail, stocked with local products, including my parents' deli items. I paid them the same wholesale rate as before. No family discounts. Clean lines. Clean books. On opening day of the second location, the lines stretched down the street. Some of Layla's old customers popped in, confused but curious. A few said they preferred coffee to overpriced dresses anyway. My parents came. Early. Dad hugged me so tight, I could barely breathe. Mum handed me a box. Inside was a framed copy of my very first business plan, the one I'd written for the deli. The edges were worn, like it had been handled a lot. I should have listened better, she said quietly. You were always thinking 3 steps ahead. I only saw the spotlight. It wasn't a perfect apology. It wasn't enough to erase years. But it was something. Layla didn't show up. Later that night, she posted a vague Instagram story about people stealing your shine and calling it business. I watched it once, felt the old anger flare, then closed the app. I can't control whether she rewrites the story in her head. I can only control mine. Now, when I lock up both cafes at night, I walk past the spot where Layla Atelier used to glow and see my own logo instead. I don't feel triumphant so much as steady. I built this. I weathered the choosing and chose myself back. My family still has their biases, their blind spots. I still have scars. But I also have regulars who know my name, staff who trust me, a partner who shows up with dumplings when I've had a horrible day, and a life that fits me, not some role I was assigned as the responsible one. They chose my sister. I chose me. And it turns out, choosing myself was the only decision that really changed anything. All right, Time for the full character breakdown, because this story is a masterclass in family roles, entitlement, and what it actually looks like to build a life on your own terms instead of in reaction to someone else. Lena, Opie, she's the planner, the quiet operator, the one who turns vague dreams into actual spreadsheets. Her biggest early flaw is believing that if she just over-delivers, better plans, better grades, more help at the deli, she'll eventually earn the same uncritical adoration her sister gets for existing. When that doesn't happen, she finally reaches the nuclear line of self-respect. If they're choosing where to stand that clearly, then I don't have to keep dragging myself in front of them. She doesn't revenge burn the boutique. She doesn't out her sister publicly. She just walks away and builds a different ladder. And when the chance comes to effectively replace her sister's failed business with her own, she does it, but only on clean, professional terms. That's not petty. That's boundaries with teeth. Layla, the sister few. This one has main character energy, with no main character work ethic. She takes Lena's plan, slaps a neon sign on it, and expects the universe to fund her aesthetic. When things go south, instead of introspection, she weaponizes victimhood, accusing others of stealing her shine, while standing on a foundation literally built from her sister's stolen work. The most damning part isn't that she fails. Businesses fail all the time. It's that even at rock bottom, her instinct is not, how did I mess up, but how do I frame this so I'm still the wronged one? She's not a mustache-twirling villain, but she is absolutely someone who shouldn't be trusted with shared resources or your Google Drive. Mum. She's the high priestess of the golden child cult. She doesn't simply favor Layla, she builds an entire family mythology around her. Wherever she goes, blessings follow. Translation: we will funnel time, money, and attention her way by default. Her sin isn't loving one child more, it's refusing to see when that love turns into enabling. To her credit, she eventually cracks, showing up at the cafe, framing the old business plan, admitting she saw the spotlight and not the substance. It's late, but it's something. She gets a shaky C+4 remedial effort. Dad, forever holding the emotional fire extinguisher, quietly watching the house burn. He's guilty of passivity, especially in those early, choosing moments, but unlike Mum, he doesn't seem wedded to a narrative. He's tired, he's scared, and he finally does the right thing by forwarding that email to the landlord and acknowledging Lena's competence. He's that parent who will never lead the charge against family dysfunction, but will help you move boxes into your new life once you've already rented the van. The revenge. The story's genius is that the revenge isn't some dramatic takedown. The real twist is structural. The boutique that was built with Lena's stolen plan becomes a second home for her brand. The physical space that once represented, "We chose her, not you," now literally has Lena's name on the door. It's poetic without being cartoonish. Layla's version of the dream collapses because it was all sheen and no spine. Lena's version thrives because it's built on actual work, actual community, and actual boundaries. So who deserves what? Layla deserves the consequences she gets. Mum deserves the discomfort of watching the non-favored child become the stable one. Dad deserves credit for finally picking a side, however late. And Lena deserves exactly what she created. A life where her success doesn't hang on anyone's grudging approval, and where their choosing her sister stopped mattering the moment she chose herself.